Okay, the road to Double or Nothing continues. Tonight is a big one because tonight is Sting and Eddie Kingston, who will go through in the Owen Hart Cup. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the All Elite Wrestling Save. We're flying away towards Double or Nothing and we have got a big week planned. We've got big shows, big matches to make big shows. Dynamite, Pac and Jay Lethal in a street fight. We're going to do Matt Jackson versus Kyle O'Reilly. Andrade versus a Joker. That's happening tonight. And then of course the main event, Sting against Eddie Kingston over on Rampage. We've got a pretty big match. Pretty big, Bryan Danielson versus Cesaro in the Owen Hart Cup. So we're excited for this. We are very excited. Let's get going. Dynamite first. If you're excited, drop a like on the video now. Comment down below who you want to win the Owen Hart Cup, because you will have seen all the men's wrestlers by the end of this episode. Let's go. Oh, I'm excited. Okay, AEW Dynamite. It's Wednesday. Of course, so you know what that means. We're from the Walter Pyramid, don't know where that is. Athena beating Nyla Rose on the pre-show with the top rope stunner, the Eclipse. 45 for this, not a problem. 46 for Athena, 39 for Nyla Rose. This is a match that could work on TV. Athena getting better at gimmick, good to see. Also on the pre-show, the Butcher and the Blade get a victory over the Best Friends for a 53. Again, solid. 52 from Chuck, 52 from Trent, 45 for the heels. And the Butcher pins Chuck Taylor with the Flaming Yawn. That's an odd name. That is a very odd name. But we're going to open Dynamite, though, with some hopefully pretty excited in-ring action. Pac and Jay Lethal have had their issues over the last few weeks. It's time that they end and settle those issues. It's a street fight. It's Pac. It's Jay Lethal. Dynamite opens up with a 66. I'm pleased with that. Considering Jay Lethal's in it, I am pleased with that. 65 for Pac, 56 for Jay Lethal. And Pac finally gets his revenge. Makes Jay Lethal tap with the Brutalizer. Remember, this all started with a one-on-one match between the two on Rampage. And Jay Lethal turned on Pac post-match, joining the Danielson-Moxley crew, which we still haven't named. We could do the Blackpool Combat crew, we'll see. And yeah. Now, finally, Pac gets his revenge. 66, I'm very pleased. The Brutalizer inside 12 minutes. That's how it's done. A good start to Dynamite. We go to a video package between Jade Cargill and Nixon Newell ahead of their Owen Hart Cup match on Rampage. Nixon is going to question whether Cargill is really as good as she says she is. Maybe that title needs to come Nixon's way too. We'll find out. What happens on Rampage. Cargill's undefeated streak against the new contender, the new confidence, the new momentum of Nixon Newell. It should be an interesting one. 57, good stuff. Okay, back to in-ring action. 61 for this one. Matt Jackson and Kyle O'Reilly went to a draw. That's right, it went to a draw for a 61. There's a couple of little issues I need to sort out, which would have helped this actually. The match descended into chaos when Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kenny Omega and Nick Jackson all got involved. The Elite and the Undisputed Elite getting involved and brawling between themselves. There's changes to be made. Actually, Kenny Omega, for some reason, didn't come back as a babyface, still as a heel, so we will. We will. I don't care if the term was compromised. It needed to happen. So 61. It should be interesting. Elite and Undisputed Elite. And post-match for 60. We do a big brawl between the two teams. Kenny Omega isn't as high as you'd expect him to be, weirdly, in this database. But, you know, this is a feud that needs to happen. 60. I'm happy. I am happy. Okay, backstage. A woman who was so close to winning the AEW Women's World title at Battle of the Belts, Ruby Soho demands a rematch. She starts showing signs of frustration that the rematch just wasn't granted. A little bit of, I don't know, maybe arrogance. I'm not sure. We're not turning Ruby heel. I'll say that now. But just add a bit of spice here that Ruby demands the rematch. The respect isn't quite there because Ruby expected that Thunder would go, you know what, I didn't want to win that way. here's your rematch. And she didn't give it. She didn't give it. So I think Ruby feels a little bit put out by the champion. 54. And then we went to a in-ring contest where she defeated Anna Jay in 6 minutes with the Heidi Ho. 51 for Ruby, 32 for Anna Jay. And what we did here is show that Soho is showing this frustration now. Like the idea is she wins with no mercy at all, to send a message to Thunder Rosa. So yeah, let's see what happens with these going forward. Last week's episode, we were supposed to be doing Andrade versus a Joker on Rampage, but he couldn't quite do it. Tonight we do it. But who is that Joker? Who? Well, we all know who the Joker is, don't we? It is Jeff Hardy for a 72. Good stuff. Andrade was the best of the lot with a 71, better than Jeff with a 64, but a 72. And Jeff Hardy beats Andrade El Idolo to go through to the Owen Hart Cup. So yeah, there you go then. Jeff Hardy is the final man in the competition. So you know everyone now with Sting and Eddie Kingston coming later. I'm excited for this tournament now. Jeff Hardy getting the win with the Swanton Bomb. What we've got written here is that Matt refuses to help Andrade. Andrade calls for a chair. Matt says no because he doesn't want to go against his brother, and it leads to Jeff Hardy getting the victory for a 72. Very good match. And yeah, Jeff Hardy in AEW. You can see where we're heading. And we'll just go straight to it. Post-match, Andrade has enough and kicks Matt Hardy out of the AHFO. And this is going to be the face turn for Matt Hardy. I know lots of turns. It is what it is. 58 for this is fine. We're going to have Matt get beaten down by the Butcher, the Blade, and Andrade El Idolo when Jeff Hardy runs back out to make the save for his brother. And yeah, deal with it. Deal with it, game. Deal with it. Okay. Backstage, Danielson and Regal for a 79 are interrupted by Cesaro. Cesaro comes in and says, "You keep talking about being the best in the world. Well, I refute that claim." And on Rampage, well, I guess we'll find out. 79, this should be a big match. Danielson, Cesaro, Rampage main event. Back in the ring, we did an address here. What do you mean, Games? What do you mean? Chris Jericho and Jake Hager address Sammy Guevara. It says there needs to be a little more star power. Oh, it was Jake Hager was the problem. I see. It is what it is. 69. Yeah, they address Sammy Guevara and they say, Jericho says, look, Sammy Guevara was never good enough. The reason that Sammy Guevara is even in All Elite Wrestling, the reason that he came so far was because of Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle. Sammy Guevara wouldn't be TNT champion if it wasn't for Chris Jericho. And finally, Sammy Guevara's arrogance has gone to his head too much. Chris Jericho wants to bring him down to size in Jericho's mind. And yeah, Sammy comes out for the fight, get beaten down because it's a 2-on-1 for a 69. Absolutely fine. Also, we now can confirm it for a 75. MJF comes out with the Pinnacle before he can say anything. Adam Page also comes out wanting an answer to his challenge from last week. And MJF says, I get it. I understand exactly what's happening. You want the MJF rub. I get it. Because you know that despite the fact you hold that gold belt, MJF is the biggest star in this company. Minute by minute, the biggest draw. And you want that MJF rub. Well, guess what, Adam Page? You just made the biggest mistake of your life because I accept. MJF accepts his place as the number one contender for the world title. And it is going to be MJF and Adam Page at the pay-per-view. I'm excited for it. 75. We're going to have no sort of fight in here. Doesn't need to be. Page leaves, gets what he wants. MJF looks very cocky and confident. MJF is in a good momentum. Beating Punk, he's beating Kingston. If he beats Adam Page, he is your world champion. Okay, finally, main event, Sting and Eddie Kingston for the Owen Hart Cup. The last spot in the quarterfinals, I think, something like that. So semi-finals, last spot in the quarterfinals. It's the quarterfinals. maths. Sting and Eddie Kingston then for the main event gets a 70. Pretty good. Not standout, but pretty good. Sting 68, Eddie Kingston 65, and Sting beats Eddie Kingston with a Scorpion Deathlock, meaning that your brackets look like this for the semi-finals of the Owen Hart Cup. I'm not going to do a graphic, but this is what the brackets look like. We're going to do CM Punk versus Miro, Jeff Hardy versus Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson versus Cesaro, as you already know from Rampage. That leaves two men, Sting and Darby Allin. We're doing Sting and Darby Allin, and that is going to be an interesting one. We're doing that, I'll tell you now, next week on Dynamite 70. We end the show with Darby and Sting having a little bit of a showdown, but also shaking hands. May the best man win next week. 77. Dynamite then gets a 73. A pretty good show. Nothing amazing, but solid sort of show for us. It's nothing like last week's amazing show, but we didn't have the ratings that we had last week. And we didn't really have the star power in the ring, if we're really honest. Jeff and Sting, the two biggest stars, going in the rings. Next week will be different. Next week for Dynamite, like I say, Darby and Sting. We're also going to have Jeff Hardy versus Moxley. It's going to be interesting. Alright then, it's Friday. You know what that means. AEW Rampage comes to you from the Westchester County Centre in the tri-state area. We open on the pre-show. Limitless Monsters picking up a victory over Private Party for a 57. Keith Lee pinning Isaiah Cassidy with a spirit bomb. Good stuff. Keith Lee, the best of the lot, carrying it really. Matt Hardy needs to be removed as manager of the Private Party. We will do that very soon. Cool. Okay, fine. Also on the pre-show, Jamie Hayter got a victory over Ty Conti with a Falcon Arrow for 46. Jamie Hayter 45. Ty Conti 41. Good stuff too. Let's get on to the main show. We open up with a pretty big match in a way. Two experienced legends. It's Chris Jericho versus Dustin Rhodes for a 70. Great match, great start, great chemistry between the two, and it showed in their performances. Jericho beats Dustin with a Lion Salt inside 8 minutes. 70 for Jericho, 51 for Dustin Rhodes. A way to sort of use Dustin a bit more as an experienced veteran, and Jericho and Dustin now to put on a good match. I thought it'd be pretty good, and it was with a 70. Post-match, Jericho and Hager put the boots to Dustin when Sammy Guevara runs out with a steel chair to clean house. And just align him with Dustin maybe, and we're going to do a tag match on Dynamite, the plan. So yeah, just a way to use Dustin's experience to help Sammy Guevara a little bit more. 58, good stuff. Okay, from there we're going to go to a promo from Serena Deeb talking about her Joker. She's been waiting for her moment. Dynamite, I promise, is when that moment will happen. Serena Deeb versus a Joker on Dynamite for a 43. Good stuff. Okay, Adam Cole cuts a promo on Kenny Omega for a 68, questioning whether Omega saw this coming, whether Omega saw that Adam Cole would be the star of the group. And that's why in Ring of Honor he got rid of him. He did. Kenny Omega backstabbed Adam Cole. And that's why in All Elite Wrestling, Adam Cole arrived and Kenny Omega disappeared, because Kenny saw this coming. Kenny Omega is a coward, says Adam Cole. 68. Interesting. Okay, Women's Owen Hart Cup quarterfinal time. We haven't quite done the Serena versus Joker match, but we'll do the first match in the next round anyway, because we're going to run out of time if not. So, Nixon Null, Jade Cargill. Jade's undefeated streak as TBS champion, of course, versus the new star on the block, Nixon Null. Who's going to get the win? It's Nixon. For a 43, the undefeated streak is over. In a shocker, Nixon pins Jade Cargill with a fast roll-up. 42 for Nixon, Jade 35, 43 overall, not bad at all. Nixon through to the next round, the semi-finals of the Women's Owen Hart Cup. It's the right call for me. I know a few of you will be disappointed that Jade's undefeated streak is over, but I'm going to play this as part of the storyline now, and Jade is he's vicious and now going to go after Nixon. Blamed Nixon for the defeat. This is the first defeat in AEW. It's a way to kickstart a feud between the two, and hopefully they can have matches of a similar level or better. 43. I'm happy. Backstage, CM Punk cuts a promo on Bryan Danielson. Sorry, JR here. I think JR was here for a 94, saying that Danielson's best in the world claims. Well, they may be true, but I also think I'm the best in the world. That may be true. I'm sure Jon Moxley thinks he's the best in the world. That may be true. There's lots of people in this tournament that could be the best in the world, and the only way you prove it is by winning it. If you become the first winner of the Owen Hart Cup, no one can complain. Danielson and Punk, 94, no surprise. No Danielson, of course, involved. Punk, a really good promo. Really good promo for the record. Backstage for a 20, talk about the difference. There's an attack happening. Julia Hart is beating up Sky Blue with Brian Pillman there holding Blue in place for the beating, putting his hands on Sky Blue. The dastardly villain that he is. 20, fine. Okay, main event then, Bryan Danielson and Cesaro. I'm excited for this one. Cesaro is working through an injury, but hopefully he can still pull it out. 16 minutes, steal the show. Danielson, Cesaro for an 81. The injury didn't help, but it's still pretty good. Danielson, 86, Cesaro, 65. So I wouldn't say it hurt it too much. 16 minutes, Bryan Danielson makes Cesaro tap with a cattle mutilation. And I'm pretty pleased with it. Danielson through then to the semi-finals of the Owen Hart Cup. And I can tell you now that Danielson will face the winner of Darby Allin versus Sting. It'll be Danielson versus Sting or Darby Allin in the semi-finals. Danielson's through. Post-match, well, Cesaro is nursing this injury. He can work through it, but I think, you know what, let's give him a break. I know he's just joined, but let's write him out a little bit. And here comes Ricky Starks with a vicious attack on Cesaro to end the show. He wraps the steel chair around the shoulder of Cesaro and launches him into the ring post over and over and over again. Cesaro is going to be helped out, clearly injured from the attack from Ricky Starks. So it means that Cesaro can have a couple of weeks break. Ricky Starks can brag about taking out Cesaro. That's what he gets for cheating to beat Ricky Starks. And eventually these two will come back together again. Maybe after Double or Nothing. 67, good way to end the show. Good main event. Good CM Punk interview. I'm excited for what this Rampage could be. It's a 74. Rampage better than Dynamite this week. When you got Danielson and Cesaro in the main event, no surprise. Okay then, that's your week in the books. If you're excited, if you're happy with what we've done, I'm pretty pleased with what we've done. I think we can have better Dynamites, but Rampage was very, very good, and I expect that next week's Dynamite will be a killer. Moxley, Jeff, I'm excited for that one. And of course, Serena versus a Joker. I am hyping that up for a reason. It should be good. Darby Allin versus Sting as well, which should probably be the main event of Dynamite. I'm not sure. Maybe Moxley, Jeff. I'll see what I can do. If you are excited, drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a thing. And until next time, peace.